Hey, we're live, guys. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my special guest is OBX Picker Eric. How you doing today, man?
Hey, doing well, man. Doing well. Trying to get
Good. I
this
see.
thing going.
I see you got your no shave your no shave November going on, right? Is that
Yeah,
it's
man. We're
December
working
now,
on it.
right?
We working on it, man.
Working on
I'm
it.
keeping it. Yeah, we're keeping it around.
You gonna keep it around at the end of the year? Okay. Well,
Yeah, for sure, for
go
sure.
go ahead and introduce yourself in case somebody don't know who you are. I've got your Instagram and YouTube channel linked in the description, so go ahead.
Okay, guys. So I'm Eric, the OBX Picker. I've been around now for over a year in the eBay / reselling YouTube community, but I do a little bit of everything as far as picking and thrifting. Right now, I'm pretty much full time. I do have some other income that comes in from other business ventures, but right now I am mainly a picker, a flipper, a thrifter, you name it. I'm kind of doing this for income. So for me, hey, Miss Jennifer, hey, small town picker, Joe Deals, thank you guys for being here. We've been having a little bit of internet issue, but we're going on with the show. So
Yeah.
we do thank you guys for being here and being a part of that. So
Yeah.
I've been doing YouTube for a little while as well. So you can definitely find me on OBX Picker. I will be live Friday night. We have a special guest with us then. But me and Sam, we do a live show. We've been doing that now for I think we're up to episode 42. So we've been doing it for a minute. So that's kind of what I got going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, and since you were here last time, Eric, you remember I told you were going to hit 1,000 subscribers, and it was like
Yeah.
a week or two later since you were here last, you hit the 1,000 subscribers because I kept telling you, I was like, just keep doing what you're doing, you're going to hit it, and then like a week later,
Yeah.
you hit your 1,000 subscribers. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that, man. You want to? Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about how things been going for you in the whole eBay world? Because you told me the other day you had like 1,000.
Yeah, guys. I did the other day. Had one of my best sales day to date. I've sold one item before, and it's been a few months back. And some of you guys that are in the chat, you know about it. But I actually found a box of Pokemon cards they were sealed. They were Japanese. They sold for like $2,500. Ended up splitting a deal with that with my buddy. You can go back and watch the whole story in my YouTube. There's one that says I sold, this for over $2,500. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But so the other day, man, after I did my listing day on Tuesday, I literally ended up making Tuesday sales from that afternoon. And even while we were on live listing, I was making sales. But that Tuesday, I ended up hitting $1,300 on eBay for the day. So that was a great day. Like, it's one
I
of
was
those
gonna
things.
say it
And
sounded like a pretty good day. It sounded like
yeah,
a good day at the office, Derek.
man, no
So
doubt.
I just wanted to say, I want to say hi to some of the guys in the chat. We had Joel Dills here today, Small Town Picker. Jennifer Hayes is here, and we got Wendy is here. She said, "Wow, two of my favorite YouTubers. Hey Jeff and hey Eric." So thank you guys for coming out. If you guys have questions for Eric, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Yeah, Eric, I see your listing lives on Tuesday, man. Sometimes you crank it out like 6 or 8 hours where you're just sitting there listing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you do that consistently, like every day? Like, what is your like
Man,
goals been? Like,
my goal for the
if you sit
day,
down for the day, go ahead.
yeah, my goal typically for the day, I'd like to get. I mean, last month I was shooting for 50, but man, I'll be honest, I fell pretty short on that. So I like to get up 30 items a day average. Now, some days it may be more, some days it may be less. Like when I list live on Tuesday, I'm trying to get up 50 or 60 items for the day. The most I've done is 100 in one day. But like I said, I'm trying to put up like 30 consistently just to keep that thing flowing like it should. But I've got up now. I'm like 1,700 listings. So my goal is to get to 2,000 listings. I know some people have different ideas about that, but I feel like if I can get up 2,000 listings in my store, I've got some long tail stuff as well. it'll give me more consistent sales. So that's kind of what I shoot for.
Well, you know what, Eric, you're going to get there. I believe you're going to, just like last time I told you were going to get to 1,000 subscribers. I think you're going to get to 2,000 items on eBay. It's just a matter of time. You just keep plugging away and keep listening. You're going to get there. That's for sure. So, I'm been hustling. I think I'm at 4,800 items right now, and I'm going to try to get to 40. Yeah, I'm going to try to get to 4,900 tonight. So I was just at, I just left the Dollar Tree, and I got some Blu-rays. I'll show you guys some stuff. I got this one. It's called Unlocked. And what else did I get today? I got some. This is like a little March of Penguins deep Blu-ray. So, anyways, I had a bunch of Blu-rays there today. And if you can get them, let's say you can pick something up like this for $1, and then you can sell it for 10, 15, 20 bucks. You can still see it still has the Walmart sticker on it. So anyways, that's what I've been up to right before we went live. Picked up some stuff at the Dollar Tree, because you only got $1 tied up in the item. So if I list all my items for at least $10 or more. So at a bare minimum, you're going to turn $1 into 10 bucks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's before they take out your eBay fees and all that. So Eric, go ahead. How has your sales been overall this year?
Man, pretty good. I think I'm up to right around 60K for the year. So yeah, it's been pretty good. Like this is like my first year actually doing this. About April is when I started going full time and doing, devoting more time to it. About the time pandemic world hit, that's when I made the decision to just jump on board with this. So I mean, I should be, like I said, end of the year around 60K. So my goal next year is I would love to do get up to that 10K a month. I haven't got there yet, but I like this month it'd probably be around 77 is what I'm at a 30-day right now. So that's where I'm looking for.
So you're at 7,700 a month, you said, for 30 days? That's not bad.
This past month, yeah. So that's the goal.
Well, good. It sounds like your sales have been picking up with fourth quarter. We got a question from Wendy. She says, Eric, what is your favorite place to source?
Honestly, Wendy, I've got a connection with an estate sale. So like how some of these people say they've got a guy, like I've somewhat got a guy. He basically typically sells stuff to me in mass. So I started out like a lot of other people, and I was hitting thrifts like 4 or 5 times a week, like doing that kind of stuff. But honestly, to scale, it's tough. It's tough to scale if that's all you're doing is hitting the thrift. So you need more volume. So you think about, and this is something I talked about with people recently, is you have to find a way to source more efficiently, right? Because if I go to thrift stores, if I go to 7 of them, I'm only going to find a certain amount of things. And there's probably a few of those stores that I'm going to blank. I'm going to walk out of there with nothing because there ain't nothing there. Or 2, 3, 4 items. And think about it. So if I'm listing 30 a day and I'm only picking up 7 items a day, how's that going to work in a long-term goal? So I like to buy stuff in bulk. So I found a guy who occasionally he runs up on stuff and he sells it in bulk. Or if I go to yard sales, I like yard sales and his estate sales because of volume, being able to get volume there. Quality and volume, but it's I'm looking at some other avenues now. I'm actually looking at I've got a connection to maybe possibly pick up some pallets, and then I'm actually looking and starting to do a little bit more research about a few replenishable items that I can just put in my store, sell them consistently, and keep restocking them, because really that kind of would lay a base for me to be able to up my game. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been ramping your eBay store up. Small Town Picker asked me, he says, how are my sales doing on an average day? It varies. That's why I kind of do eBay part-time. I have my 2 eBay stores. Sometimes sales go up, sometimes they go down, sometimes they're flat. I showed you, if you watched my last What Sold video, I think I had like $9.50 tied up in the merchandise, and I sold like $180 worth of merchandise. So, that was about $10 and 180, that's about an 18x rate of return on your money. So it's not bad. It all adds up. It varies. I sold some video games today. I sold a PS2 game today for $20, couple of DVDs, couple of video games. So it all adds up. Believe it or not, I sell a lot of stuff at night. Do you have that, Eric, where you'll sell a lot of eBay merchandise that in the middle of the night and you just wake up and you have a bunch of sales on your app? But the thing is that I'm focused on is just doing the listing. If you do all the listings, the sales are going to come. And like Eric says, if you go to a place and you get 3, 4, 5 items at a thrift store, let's say you go to 5 thrift stores that day and you got 5 items at each store. Well, you walked away with 25 items. So I've been looking online at buying something in bulk where I can get 200 or 300 items, 500 items. Boom, send right to my door. And then that cuts out all the time where you're spending time in gas and looking for a parking spot and all that. Plus, I don't know about where you're at, Eric, but here where I'm at in Florida, because of the whole virus thing, they only allow like 5 people in the store at a time. And you got to wait in line just to get into the store. And you got to wait in line to check out, find a parking spot. It's just a lot of stuff you got to deal with just to maybe get 4 or 5 items, you know? And it might not even be the items that you wanted. It's just you don't want to come out empty-handed, you know?
Yeah.
So
I stopped at the thrift store right then. Wendy actually said favorite thing to source.
I was getting ready to say that. So
so Wendy, for me, I like vintage electronic stuff. I just do. I don't know why. I think it's just because it's stuff that's old that I can either think back to a kid, or I like stuff that is even older. I like stuff that you don't see every day. I actually just sourced and found a telephone, like an old telephone, the one that you hand crank the side and hold the earpiece up, and that actually sold in one day. I sold it for like $250, but that was a great deal. But yeah, there's stuff like that I like to source, but I pretty much will sell near about anything. If I can find stuff in bulk, then that's even better, like to where I can get a lot of listings out of one buy, or find things where I can get buy. Because when I'm buying more multi-quantity stuff, like I'm looking like where's the break even. So I'm looking for that one item that pays for everything else. Or hey, if I sell 3 of these, I'm in profit, and now the other 7 of them are all profit, like that kind of thing. That's how I think about when I'm sourcing. So I like a lot of that kind of stuff. So I do ask about electronics. I ask about video games like everybody else, but I'll source about anything, to be honest. If it sells, I'm down for it.
So Eric, how long have you been working now as a full-time reseller? Like, how long have you been full-time now?
Pretty much since the pandemic started. I actually used to do a lot of stuff like you, a lot of gig economy stuff. Like I was doing that for a little while. I actually know how to do construction and maintenance and all that stuff. So I was actually hooked up with an app called Handy, and I did a lot of work with those guys, basically like going in people's houses, mounting TVs, like doing things like that. And then when all that went kind of flat with the COVID, I had got into reselling. So I was like, man, I can make a run with this if I just devote more time to it. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
Just jumped on board with that.
So Eric, what first got you started into reselling? You mind telling us the story about what first got you started into reselling?
Man, it's actually kind of interesting. I have it in a few of my videos, but the thing that got me initially, my daughter, like I've grown kids. I have one that's 23 and one that's 25. So my oldest daughter did LuLaRoe. That was her thing that she had going for about 1.5 years, 2 years. She had all this inventory. So she moved out, like, got her own place and all this stuff. So we had a closet in our house slammed full of LuLaRoe stuff. And I kept after her for about 1 year, like, well, hey, what are you going to do with this stuff? Like, I mean, you're pretty much checked out. Like, how are you going to get your money back? All this kind of stuff. And she was past the point of being able to send that stuff back and get a return on it. So I was like, man, I said, well, if you're not going to do anything with it, I'm going to figure out a way to get rid of it. So I went on eBay and listed some of that stuff. Went on Poshmark, which I'm not a Posh seller. I just can't get into the selling, like keep having to share your stuff over and over again. But so I listed some of that stuff on a couple of different platforms. And then, I was selling a little bit of it, but nothing in any kind of bulk, like pretty much like 1 or 2 here or there. And then because I had the eBay app, me and my wife usually we would yard sale occasionally just because, I grew up doing that stuff. My dad always did yard selling and that kind of stuff. So we were actually looking for a piece of furniture for our house. Like one of our kids needed a dresser or something. And I was like, so occasionally I'll go thrift store shopping or that kind of stuff just to look for something cool. And so we went to a yard sale that was like basically kind of a state/warehouse clean out sale. And I found a bunch of Marvel action figures loose and they were all loose in these boxes. And I picked one up and looked him up on eBay. He was worth $45. And so I talked to this guy that was running the sale. I said, "Hey, how much you asking for these action figures?" He's like, "How many totes you want?" And I was like, "Well, how much would 2 totes be?" And I think he said like $20. And I was like, "How much for all of them?" There's like 5 of them there. And he said 40. Well, I originally said 50. I said, "Well, man, would you do like 45 or whatever?" Because I'm thinking, hey, that's $45, that one dude right there. So that's what got me hooked, because I picked them things up and I started listing them and I was selling them every day. Like I've still got maybe about 10 of those action figures left, but I probably had 200 or 300.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like you made a killing on that deal.
Yeah, man. If you go back and watch my original video that's on my YouTube, and man, you'll see the haul. The camera works terrible, all the rest of the stuff. But man, there was so many of those action figures. It got me hooked. I was like, man, I said, if you can do this and it's this easy, then why would you do anything else? Really?
Some days are easier than others, Eric. So I got a bunch of questions I want to ask you today. The first question I want to ask you is, tell me about your shed. I know you've been working on your shed this year. How has that been working out for you as far as storing items and pulling items and all that? How has that been working for you?
It's great for storage for sure. I'm still in the process of getting organized in here. My problem is when I moved to the shed, I had 1,300 items listed. And inside, I didn't really have a inventory like some of these guys that have all their stuff in totes A through Z and all that. I didn't have it.
You weren't there yet, huh?
And I've always had a good memory. So I'm like, okay, I know this is on the shelf. So how I had it stored in the house was kind of like items together. Like here, this is my electronics section. Here's where I got all my remotes, like, that kind of stuff. And then when I first moved to the shed, I was like, dude, there's no way I'm going back and fixing 1,300 items with custom SKUs. So now I'm kind of in the transition of my shed is almost like going shopping at a store. You have the electronics section, the video game section, the shoe section, so that's kind of how it is. But when I got these parts, I'm like, I've got to do something different, because there's so many little items that if I don't do something more organized, then I'm losing them. So I've been working on trying to upgrade and get my organization down a little bit better, but it's coming along. Like I put insulation all in this thing, like before I've done anything. And then I don't know if you guys, y'all have seen some of it. That's my big pile of parts that I've left to list. But let's see if I can turn it around where you can see down the shelf.
Yeah, I see it. It looks kind of like my shed. It looks kind of like my little shed. I got stuff just kind of sitting everywhere where I know where it is. But if somebody else walked in there, they wouldn't have a clue where to find where to pull the holders. Go ahead.
I've got the Avon boxes that those parts came in. So what I've done is I've labeled some of them, and I've got them like set up to where, okay, this went in J1, this went in, like that kind of thing, just to kind of get a little bit better about getting organized. Cause that's really the tougher part for me. When you're a one-man band, like I am when it comes to eBay, it's tougher to do everything well. So I'm working on improving myself in that area.
So Eric, what happened with all those boat parts you said you were going to get? Did you end up getting them and selling through them, or what happened?
Dude, that's what this big pile of stuff is right here. Every one of those boxes is full of ATV and boat parts. That's half of them. I've listed half of them.
Okay, so cool.
I would say I probably sell 10 to 20 boat parts a week now.
Really?
So it's
all right.
I bought
so if you
$500.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, Eric is now a full-time reseller. And his first year, I think he said in the past 30 days, you did $7,700 in sales in the past 30 days. So it sounds like you've been killing it lately. So now, Eric, give me your top 3 or 4 tips. Like, let's say if someone is a part-time reseller and they're like, man, I'm only doing 1,000, 2,000 a month, but I want to get to the point where I'm doing 7, 8, 9, 10 grand a month. I mean, what kind of suggestions would you give somebody if they want to increase their sales?
I mean, the basic thing is like what everybody says. Like what I did is I made a plan and worked backwards. So like, okay, if I want to get to 10 grand, how many items do I got to sell to get to 10 grand? So for me, like my average sale cost per item is right at $30. So I know for me, any given month, if I want to get to 10 grand, I'm going to have to sell 300 plus items. So probably if I shot at 400, I'd probably be safe, because your average will change a little bit. When I first started, I think it was about $25 was my average item. And then it went up and down. I got up to like 32 was the high. And then now it's back to 30. So, if you work your numbers like that to know you got to have that many sales. Okay. So then you talk about sell-through rate. So if you don't know your sell-through rate, it's actually pretty easy to figure out. If you look now at your 90-day average, you'll have how many items you sold, you've had how much you've sold them for. So using that, you can figure out what your average sale cost is. You can also figure out, hey, how many items do I sell a day, right? So if you take a week and get an average of how many items you sold a day, or if you even take that 90-day average and divide that out. So in 90 days, I sold, let's say, we'll make it easy. Say I sold 300 items, right? Then your average sale cost is going to, like if you were to take 90 days, so 90 divided by, let's see, or 300 divided by 90 would be 3 a day. So you'd have to sell like 3 a day to get there. But depending on what you're selling, that's kind of how you got to figure it out. So if I need to sell that many a day, then how many do I need to list to get there? What I do is I take the number of items I have in my store. So like I have right now 1,700 items. I'm averaging, I would say about 8 a day is the average. So if I take 8 and divide it by 1,700, you'll see what my average sell through is not that great. It's like 0.5%. So I know if I got to sell that many, like, and I wanted to get to a certain goal, I got to figure out how many items do I have to list and how many items do I have to get to in my store to sell that many items. So that's how I did it. But I'm a nerd about numbers. So like, that's one of the things that I looked at is how many items do I got to be putting in every day to sell what I need to sell to get where I'm at. And
$30 is a pretty high average sell price on eBay, so that's pretty good. So, so it sounds like you need to list a lot of items, right? You're going to look at your sell-through rate, and I feel like the more items you have listed in your store, the more sales you're going to make. I was listening to Chris from Daily Refinement, and I think he said he recently hit 10,000 items in his eBay store, and he said the more hooks that you have in the water, the more fish you're going to catch. So, obviously the more items you have listed, your sales are going to increase. So, Eric, what are some of your goals that you have next year for 2021 with your YouTube channel and reselling?
Well, as far as reselling, man, I want to get to that 100K mark. I want to get there. I would love to get to the place and like 5 years down the road, to where I'm actually making 100K selling online. But like right now, the goal is, and that's a physical number. But there's some other goals that I have. Want to be debt free. Like that's kind of what one of my things is for working for myself. Want to do that. But, yeah. So when you look at that stuff, and Bearded Veteran said about his, depends on your cost of good too, because that's the other thing that you need to look at on your stuff is your return on investment. If you're paying $18 to sell $20, then there's probably somebody selling way less than you are, but making more money than what you are. So you got to know what your numbers are on your fixed goods too, like what your fixed cost is. That's a good point that I do as well. I know for me that I need to keep my cost of goods under 20% average across the board. Like if I'm buying a higher dollar item, I'm going to buy that maybe for a little bit more percentage wise than what I would if I'm buying, like you're saying, Jeff, there with your DVDs. Like it, so if you're $1 into 10, what your 10% cost of goods, because you're looking, you're going to see about. I figure a little high on my shipping. Like I figure at least 20% is what I'm going to spend in shipping. That's what I always figure. That's
do
me.
you give the customer free shipping? I make the customer pay shipping because a lot of the items I'm selling, it's medium L, so it's $2.80. And if they want to do first class, I ship out first class. But I mean, it's, we're talking $2-3. It's not real expensive.
No, I do it both ways, depending on the item, depending on how the rest of the listings are. Like I figure that stuff out. But what I'm saying is, like across the board. So like you're saying a $10 item, but like on eBay's tracking, that's going to be a $13 sale, right? Because they're going to add your shipping into that. So that would show up as a $13 sale. Well, you're obviously paying $1 for the goods, but then you're paying your, $3 for shipping. So that'll change your percentages. So you take that into account too. But yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Bearded Veteran 40X on your numbers. That's the thing. That you do have to look at is all the numbers, because honestly, there's YouTube numbers, guys, and there's real numbers. Like we all know that. Like I see Instagram guys that are dropping, "Hey, I sold this." Well, I know that's a RA item, a retail arbitrage that you bought, and I know what they sell for at retail arbitrage. And dude, you spent $50 and made $5. Like that's not my business plan. Like just to have a big number, that's not the goal. Like if I can keep to where I am putting in my pocket 50% of what my sales are, that's where I want to be. that's kind of where I'm talking. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but if I can know when I'm buying that's where I want to be, then it keeps me straight.
Yeah. So Eric, did you go out during Black Friday? Did you go out hunting for any deals on Black Friday? And did you get a jump start on getting any Christmas shopping done?
No, man. For us, like it's about an hour and a half trek to get to the places that have that kind of stuff. I've been hitting up some of the Walmart Black Friday stuff. And I did a little bit of RA on quick selling items. Like I was fortunate and picked up some controllers recently that sold like same day pretty much. When Walmart had them on sale, now they're back to regular price. So that was like a 1 week shot on some Switch controllers. But I haven't hit a whole lot of RA. It's just not my business model, man. I just, I don't do much Amazon. I'll do a little small percentage, but like I said, I don't want to spend 100 to make 10. I just don't. Like that's just not. Every time I've done it, I almost regret it because I'm like, dude, I just spent this much money. If I spent that much money with my guy, I would be, I would be like, I would probably have, like for instance, these boat parts. I spent $500 on boat parts. Dude, I've probably got $20,000 in inventory from those boat parts. So, I mean, you're talking not even a penny an item. So that's what I'm liking. But items in, items out. Everybody else has their own business model. That's, you do you when it comes to that. I'm trying to get a balance of both. That's where I'm headed with the replenishables, is trying to get a balance of both, like to where I have, X number that I'm going to spend on RA, X number I'm going to spend on, this. But if it's a quick selling item and I have to pay up for it, I will do that if I know I can sell it same day. Like I've had a few RA that I've sold in the store before I even got them out of the car. So,
Yeah, I was going to say the thing is sometimes you go to these Walmart clearance sections and there's literally nothing there. It's like you strike out, you think you're going to go in there and hit gold, and you walk out with nothing or
yeah,
next to nothing, you know. And
dude,
so, and
I've
sometimes the
got
clearance
tomorrow
items,
sitting here looking at me right now.
yeah,
It's
right,
been looking at me since last year.
yeah. So,
So,
so I wanted to say hi to Joey Bada Bing. He's in the chat. He said, "Let's go." So
hey,
he just stopped by to say hi. So,
yeah, Joey's a great guy, man.
yeah, so go ahead, Eric. Give us some more tips from a full time reseller, because you said you hit 7,700 in sales in 30 days. That's pretty good. Do you have any more tips or tricks or any advice that you
Yeah,
could
I mean,
pass along?
the numbers is one thing. I mean, you definitely, if you're looking at doing this thing, you know, you need to treat it like a business. I mean, that's the other side of things. If you continue to treat it like just a hobby or a thing, because I mean, honestly, working for yourself, it takes some motivation. One of the reasons why I do the Tuesday live listing is to hold myself accountable. I do it for you guys too, because I want to inspire you to list as well. But I do know the bottom line of this business is if you don't work, you're not gonna. I mean, it's not rainbows and Lambos all the time like you see on YouTube. It involves work, and if you don't list, you don't sell. And if you are slack about shipping stuff out, eBay's going to ding you, or your customers are going to be ticked. You know, if you don't go out on time or it's not packed right. So treat it like a business. And I always try to think from the other person's perspective. I know a lot of us, and I rant sometimes on people that buy stuff from me as well, but I try to think about myself. Like if I ordered something from somebody and that junk came packed and there's no packing material and it's all busted up, and I just spent my money and now I'm gonna have to wait to get my money back and I'm gonna ship it back to you and all that kind of stuff. So I try to think of it from that angle too. So when I'm shipping items, even if I'm tired or wore out and don't want to feel like messing with it, I try to think on that regard. Or if people are reasonable and they send me questions, then I try to be timely about answering them, because I mean, if it's pre-sale questions and it's not too over the top, I'm okay with. But we all get the ones that the guys are just I think they're just messing with you. Like they're not going to buy anything. They're just going to ask you 500 questions. But I try to just treat everything like a business. Treat it like if I was doing business with you face to face, how would I act, and what would I do? So that would be my second tip. I think is just to treat everybody like you want to be treated. I mean, really, that's
Well,
kind of
the
basic.
goal is to try to get repeat customers on eBay. That's my thing, is like, that's why I'm trying to sell a lot of things in the same niche. So let's say if a guy bought a PS2 video game from me and I've got hundreds of video games, well, next week he can come by and buy another video game. Or if a guy buys a DVD or a Blu-ray, well, guess what? Next week, 2 weeks from now, he can come back and buy more from me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you want to keep the customers happy so they come back again and again and again. So talk to me a little bit about your strategy when you're looking at buying some replenishable items. Is there a certain niche or a certain market you're thinking of as far as buying replenishable items to sell on eBay?
I mean, I've been doing some research, and like I said, everybody can use whatever to basically, guys, if you're interested in something, it's pretty easy to research on eBay and look and see, basically the closer you can get to the root of a product. Let's just say that. If you find a product that has a good sell through, and you can check sell through by going on eBay and punching in an item, see how many are listed, see how many have sold. And if it only goes back like 90 days, but man, if you go back and it's only got 2 or 3 days worth of sales history and there's however many listings, like it takes a little time to research that. And I've been working at it for a little while because I want to be smart. So like I'm going back now and I'm trying to find items, not like super expensive items, like more along the line of what you're talking about, maybe your $10, $15, $20 item that I can buy, maybe even import it or whatever I need to do to get it here, or find a manufacturer that I can get. Like we even have, I've even been looking at grocery stuff. I've been looking at replenishables that are like maybe a seasonal thing, or maybe something that's trending, or that kind of stuff. I just been looking at a bunch of different options with that. I haven't nailed down anything as of yet. I know there are some things in the HBA world, in the home goods world, that you can find that people are going to buy and buy and buy. So that's a good place to start. But just if you can find that item and get it back to maybe the manufacturer, or get it back to maybe a wholesale that you can buy at wholesale, then that's what you want to do. Basically, as many hands as you can get out of that product, the more money you can make with it. that's just basic business. The less middlemen you have, the better off you are. So when it comes to doing that,
I'm with you, Eric. Yeah, I've been maybe once a week. I've been stopping at the Dollar Tree looking for items that I can buy for $1 and sell for 10, 15, 20 bucks on eBay. And I'm trying to find an item that maybe I buy once, I go home, take picture front and back of the product, and then whenever it sells, because I got 5 Dollar Trees within about 10 minutes of my house. There's one right across the street from my house. So I've been going there and kind of experimenting to say, okay, here's this shampoo bottle that I paid for $1. Can I sell it for 10 or 15 bucks and then sell it over and over and over again? So I'm just kind of experimenting, because if you screw up, if things don't go well, you only got $1 tied up in the item, and it's not the end of the world. So it's, you know,
and
so
if you find one, like, you can actually, Dollar Tree they'll ship it to your house by the case, or ship it to your Dollar Tree by the case, if you find one that hits that niche. But for me, that's kind of what I'm looking for now. I'm not looking to, I enjoy picking. I enjoy the treasure hunt. I enjoy finding that stuff. But the bottom line is, you won't hit a home run every day. But if you can get a walk or a steal, or like that's, you'll score more runs with base hits anyway. So that's how it works. But
yeah. How's it going? I wanted to say hi to Bargain Resell and the Thrift Shop Hustler is here. So I wanted to say hi to Chris. So we were just talking about looking for replenishable items if you guys are coming in late. So yeah, what I was saying is if, let's say you found 10 items that was in your eBay store that are replenishable items that you could sell over and over and over again. So it wouldn't have to be, hundreds of them. Just say if you had 10 items, 15, 20 items that every week sold over and over again, and if you could get them for cheap, let's say you paid $1 for the item and it sold for 20 bucks, and you only had $1 tied up in it, and then it sold over and over and over again, and whenever the item sold, you just went, like I said, I could go to the Dollar Tree. There's a Dollar Tree right across the street from my house. Whenever one sells, I could just walk right across the street and grab one and say, okay, here's this deck of cards, here's this shampoo, here's this swimming pool float that I paid $1 for, and it sold for 10 bucks. So that way, instead of using your real estate, you're storing the stuff in your shed, you're using the Dollar Tree almost as a spare storage garage for you. It's almost like a spare warehouse for you. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, but that's kind of what I've been thinking of.
That's pretty much like you're flipping without your own money. At that point, like you're not having to do put out a lot, because you've already got it there. Like you've already got it accessible, and you pretty much, like you said, you sell one, you buy one, or you can get to the point where you sell one. Hey, if I sold them for $20, I can go buy 18 more, and now I'm set up. I got a little thing.
Yeah, the thing is, like I said, if it doesn't work out and the item doesn't sell, you only had $1 in it. You only had to buy one of them. So I just buy one of them so I can take a picture front and back of the item, right? And then once I have the picture, because I don't have any with me, I have some at the house. But let's say it's, it could be anything. It could be a bar of soap. It could be shampoo. It could be, like I said, I've been buying these swimming pool floats, because in Florida, where I'm at, it's warm year round. People still go swimming. They still go to the beach, and I could buy these little like kids floaty things, or like something that people would take to the swimming pool with them, and then pay $1 for it, and then maybe sell it on eBay for 10, 15 bucks. And whenever an item sells, you sell that same item over and over and over again. So that's kind of what I've been looking at. I wanted to say hi to some people in the chat. We got Bargain Resell, Bearded Veteran, the Thrift Shop Hustler is here, Wendy, and we got Javela Flips. So thanks for coming by. Wendy says, are you considering buying items that people may need if we get closed down again? Games, puzzles, disinfected items, soap, etc. Yeah, well, to be honest with you, last time we had to shut down, I was making a killing because a lot of the items that I sell are video games, DVDs, Blu-rays, CDs, things like that. And a lot of people were locked inside their houses. And dude, I was making so much money selling stuff, like because maybe somebody would have went out and maybe walked their dog or went out to a park or something, but instead they were locked inside their house. I was making so much money in sales. I think one month I made over for me. I think I made over like $6,000 or something in 30 days just selling DVDs, Blu-rays, video games, things like that because people were locked inside their home, you know. And now maybe somebody that hadn't played video games in 10 years all of a sudden want to play video games again, you know, because they're locked inside their house. But no, I haven't really got into it. I have some items like that listed, but I haven't looked for that specifically. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, man. I what I was saying earlier about finding some replenishables that are trending. That's definitely something to look into because it does. I mean, we know that eBay will flag you on some things if you're trying to like gouge prices or anything like that. But last time around, I did have some grocery items that sold for me that you just couldn't find. Like I was in a unique situation where I lived, and I know Annie is in here, and she watched my videos back then, so she knows a little bit of what I was talking about. I live on an island, so when the pandemic stuff first hit and they shut us down, they closed our island. Like, I mean, they closed it. Like, if you didn't have a Dare County license, you were not getting in here. Like, that's just how it worked. So we were still getting shipments to our local Walmart. Back then, we had the Kmart as well. So, like, there's things that I was able to pick up and find that people in other parts of the country could not. Because we only have a limited amount of people that actually live here. We have a ton of tourism, you know, so tons of tourists come here. So our shelves and everything were getting stocked for the spring. Everything was coming in. So I was able to go out and pick up some things that I could flip when the pandemic stuff went down. And I was actually doing that a lot, RA then. But now I'm starting to look at things that I could sell like that are trending like that. I mean, you think about there are tons of stuff out there that have to do with the pandemic, like things that we may have not typically been using.
About, like toilet paper.
I mean, like those little things. I'll give you guys one. Okay, so when the pandemic hit, how many people were talking about bread machines, right? So people were selling bread machines like crazy because bread in certain parts of the country, you weren't be able to get bread. Dude, I was selling yeast packets. Like that's something like I was selling yeast packets every day, all day. Like that was one of the things that I could get in abundance here that other people couldn't get. So it was one of those things like, you know, it's something you don't even think about. But I was like, hey, all these jokers buying bread machines. What about the stuff that goes in the bread machine? Can you find it? So I sold a lot of that. I got hung with a little bit of it towards the end. But it was one of those things. I was selling it every time I'd go to the store and buy it. Sometimes I would sell it before I even got out of the parking lot. That's just how it was going down.
So Eric, give me some of your sourcing techniques. Like if you're at a yard sale or a thrift store or a garage sale, talk to me a little bit about some of your sourcing techniques when you're out looking for merchandise to resell.
For me, I've been in it a little bit now. So there's some things I just know, you know, because what I've done, and this is another suggestion I'll give you. Anybody can do this. What I do with thrift stores, if I have time, thrift stores for me are like school, right? So I'll just go in, I'll start scanning stuff, you know, like it don't matter where I'm going to buy it or not. I just want to know what it sells for. And then when I get the yard sales, now I know like, hey, I need to look at that because I seen that sells for this much money. But when I go to a yard sale, it is very, very, it's got to be a bad yard sale if I walk out of there with one item. I'll just tell you, as far as me, I'm all about the bundle. Unless it's just there's nothing there and I'm scraping the barrel to try to come up with something, or it's something that's super cheap. Like the other day I walked out with actually I got it. I'll show it to you real quick. This is the first time in a little while that I went out with only one item. See if I got it. Yeah.
All right.
I think it's
Don't.
Don't leave.
Okay. Okay, cool. We didn't leave. I just want to say hi to people in the chat. We got Land Shark Picker here. We got Bargain Resell. We got Online Christian Panure here, and Wendy's in the chat. Go ahead. We didn't leave you. Go ahead and show us what you got.
So see this right here?
Yeah, what is that?
See the
Is
sticker
that a
on it?
sewing machine? What is that thing?
No, Makita makes tools, right? High end. Well, not high end
All right.
tools. Like every construction worker will have tools made by Makita. They're like one of the better like skill saws, like that kind of stuff. This is a case, but this is a case for a bigger saw. So this is a $30 case, right?
Okay.
You saw the price, $1, right?
Yeah.
So I went to that yard sale. There was nothing. I happened to be walking by. I see that thing. I see $1 on it. I'm like, huh. I went and looked at it. Hey, that's $20 plus shipping.
Okay, so it's just a case. I thought you were going to show us something inside the case,
No.
Eric. You got everybody disappointed. Everyone wanted to see what was in the case.
Hey, I'll tell you something else.
Everybody was tuning in.
See this?
Yeah, what's that? An adapter? What is that for? That is that what? I don't know. What goes into
Small
that thing? I
tape
can't.
to the big tape, right? VHS.
Oh, okay, I see it.
They
Yeah,
don't make it anymore. This is $35.
really.
Yep.
I haven't seen one of those before.
Yep. That's why it's $35. So for me,
I just never seen one before. I didn't know what it was.
if it's odd, right? If it's odd, I pick it up. I just do. And then
Right.
I pick up something. So when I go to a yard sale, I'm looking like I'm saying, okay, I need to find something I know that's going to make enough money that I can offer for everything else I get. That's what I do.
yeah. Well, I'm with you, Eric. I think it's kind of important if you're at a yard sale to try to get a big bundle of items instead of just buying one or two items.
Yeah.
To try to get a big bundle and say, hey, what about? Because the people want to sell the stuff, they want to get rid of it. So if you say, okay, I want to buy this whole, how much for this whole pile here, and you've got 10 or 12 items instead of just one or two, you might get a better deal, right?
Hey, I'll give you a story that you'll appreciate because you're a DVD guy.
Go ahead.
So I went to a yard sale recently, and I've done this a few times, but I go to this yard sale. Lady's got 150 DVDs, right? Now she's got a VCR DVD combo sitting over there, and that I've done looked at. It's one that I buy all the time, like the Magnavox. I think it's like the 5220 or whatever it is. It's one that I see all the time. So I know that's a $60 unit, flat out. If you have the remote, you might get 70. So I'm looking at that thing. I was like, okay. So I'm looking at all these DVDs. Nothing super fantastic. I mean, none. They're all probably anywhere from $5 to $10 DVDs. They're used, right? And I did find one that are a few box season sets. So I go up to her and I see her price. Like she had said, I guess it was like 1 for $3 or like 3 for $8 or something crazy. Like she had it up there, and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, okay. So it was later in the day. It was probably like lunchtime. And so they're running till 2:00. I went up there and I was like, I said, well, how much would you sell me all the DVDs for? She's looking at it. She's like, what? How many of them are there? I said, well, I think there's about 120, 130. She goes, you already counted? I said, well, I took a rough guess of what it was. I didn't count it specifically, which I'd counted somewhat. And then I just kind of looked at the rows and said, okay, there's 10 rows. Looks like there's about 12 in each row. So I did that. And she's like, I don't even know. She goes, well, what would you pay? I said, I'd pay 80. And she looked at me and she's like, what? Like, she goes, well, that's not much for all of them. I said, well, let me ask you this. I said, are you going to sell all these DVDs before you leave today, or what are you going to do with them? And she's like, looking. I said, because, she goes, well, I got them at $3 a piece. If there's 100 something, that's like $300 some dollars. I said, well, ma'am, I said, are you looking to keep the DVDs or are you trying to sell them? And she's like looking at me like, I can't believe you asked that. But she goes, I'd feel better at 100. And I said, I tell you what, I said, if you throw the VCR in over there, then I'll do 100. And she's like, okay. So I rolled out of there. I come to find out there's one of those box sets that were $45, and I sold the VCR combo for 70. So it's one of those things I was like, and I've got all this inventory that I just lotted them up, and I've sold a few of the lots. So it's one of those things you kind of do. The other little trick I do with DVDs that I joke people about all the time. You ever go to a sale and somebody has box sets, and like maybe their sign says $1 a DVD, and then if you bring one of them box sets up there, they start counting each disc in the box and saying, "Oh, that's $10." I'm like, have you ever? I know most people probably have had that happen to them at some point because they try to not sell them for just $1. They want to get like $1 per disc. So I tell them all the time, I was like, well, hey, I just want disc 1 and 3. Is that okay? Like, I've got the rest of them. I'm good on them. And they kind of look at me like, what? You can't do that. I said, well, you're selling them by the disc, right? They kind of look like, well, not like that. Like, they don't know how to combat that. I've done it at the flea market too. Usually they give me a better price.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I've been sourcing a lot at pawn shops lately, and if you go there, they'll sell you regular DVDs. They're like 10 for $5. So you're paying 50 cents a piece, and the idea is I'll try to turn. If I could buy those DVDs, let's say I'll buy 10 of them for $5, and I sell each one for $10 a piece. My goal is to try to turn $5 into $100. You see what I'm saying? So now you got 10 DVDs. Now you can turn 10 of them times $10. That's $100. So if you can turn $5 into $100, you're going to get a 20x on your money, is what I'm saying. So yeah, I've been going to a lot of pawn shops when I get a chance, because a lot of times they're willing to work with you. You know, sometimes you see some of these people on OfferUp, or you see some people on Facebook Marketplace, and everything they have they think is gold, and they want top dollar for it. Some of these places like pawn shops or whatever, they just want to get the stuff moving. They want to just get the stuff out of there so they can clear the shelf and go to the next, so they have room to put more merchandise on the shelf. So
something else.
Yeah. So Eric, tell people about your YouTube channel and your show that you have coming up on Friday.
Okay. So YouTube wise, guys, I've been a little slack about putting out pre-recorded. I do a listing live every Tuesday. And that's from 9:30 Eastern. Sometimes I go as late as like 5:30 Eastern. Sometimes, like this past week, I cut it off a little early. My parents came in town, so we're spending some time with them. But I'll be back on that grind this coming Tuesday. Now, this Friday, I actually have a special guest coming on. One of my guys who lives here locally, he is a reseller. He's sold on Amazon. He's sold on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, all this kind of stuff. He still sells on all these platforms. But he also owns a thrift store here. So he's got the ultimate inside track. We're going to be talking about thrift store business operation, thrifting, picking, all the stuff that he does outside of that. He actually does like some pallet purchases. He's done I don't know if you guys have ever watched Resell Rabbit, where he buys truckloads of stuff and does that 3-2-1 sale. This guy's done some of that. So his name is Mike. You might have seen him in some of my chats before, but he has a long last name. But he's from like Chicago area, and they just moved here recently. So the thing is, it's kind of cool that for him to come on, because he's somebody I know in person as well. And he's a great guy. They're always picking up tons of stuff. I always joke him. I said, I don't source at y'all's place because you've already cherry picked all the good stuff. He goes, I don't always see it, man. He said, half the stuff we getting so much in. He goes, that sometimes, and he goes, the ladies in there don't know what they're looking at. So one of the things, but he'll be on my show Friday. That's always at 8 p.m. Eastern. On OBX Picker channel, we do a reseller roundtable. We actually have numerous guests, and like I said, I think this will be our 42nd show. So me and Sam, the Dapper Tiger, we're going to be doing that for the foreseeable future. So I encourage you to be a part of that. I am looking to hopefully, when things kind of get back to normal, start being a little bit more diligent about putting out pre-recorded. I'm also tonight going to be on Bluegrass Picker is doing an auction with Nanatique and some other people. So I'm actually going to be auctioning some stuff off at 10 p.m. So I had to get a little nap in this afternoon so I could stay up that late. But I'm one of those early risers. So
Yeah.
if you guys go to Bluegrass Picker channel, they actually start that auction at 8. So if y'all want to be a part of that, come on by.
Yeah, awesome. I got Eric's Instagram and YouTube is linked in the description, so you guys want to go check his channel out. I'm gonna be a guest next Friday, so you just might see me stop there and hang out with Eric and Sam. So it'll be a good time. And I got Mr. Buys-A-Lot coming on tomorrow night, so we got if you guys want to come check in tomorrow around 5:00, we'll be hanging out with Brian, Mr. Buys-A-Lot, and we're gonna pick his brain and ask him some questions. So Eric, give me your final thoughts. We've been streaming for about an hour. Give me your final thoughts, Eric, and I'll get you out of here, buddy.
Well, man, I appreciate you once again for having me on. Looking forward to our interview with you next Friday. And all you guys that are out there hustling, man, just keep up the grind. It's worth it. And what you put into it, it'll ultimately come out the other side. You may not see it every day, but consistency really is key when it comes to this thing. It really is that. I've learned that in both the YouTube world and the reselling world, which is where we tend to make our money at, is there. So I also do have I have merch now too, if anybody has went in and looked. So if you check my Instagram, I do have a flow page there. If you click on that, it's got links to my eBay store. It's got links to merchandise. If you ever see the "Do You Even List, Bro" shirts, that's something that I put out here recently. So feel free to check that out. Not a requirement, but always appreciated. We do. Thank you guys. Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks, Eric. Thanks for hanging out with me today, bro. I appreciate you guys. I just wanted to say hi to some people in the chat real quick. We got Simply Dana. Thanks for coming by. We got Bargain Resale in the house. Wendy was here. The Thrift Shop Hustler says he respects just the case sale. And he got Land Shark Hustler here. We had Online Christian Panure. And we had Javela Flips, Annie. So, hey, guys, thank you all for hanging out with us today. And I'll see you tomorrow. If you want to come hang out with Brian, Mr. Buys-A-Lot, he'll be here tomorrow at 5. And you can go hang out with Eric. His show starts at 8 tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Everybody have a great night. Bye, guys.
All right, guys.